Welcome to the Overcoming Medical Hair Loss Summit. My name is Valerie Fuentes. I'm your host, and today I am with Supriya Surrender. Welcome back. I had the pleasure to talk to Supriya back in the summer. Well, still summer, but beginning of summer, when I did the Unapologetic Badasses series, and we just totally hit it off. I had so much fun. I knew I had to have you again. And not only because of that, because I really feel that we really connect in like how we believe that mental health and taking care of yourself, right, and from the inside out is so important, right? I think that sometimes we get fixated with the hair and the looks and all that stuff when we're going through hair loss, and we forget to take care about this, which is the most important thing for me. So I love, the things you share on your blog and on Instagram. So yeah, I needed to have you back again. So thank you for saying yes and being here.
Of course. I will interview with you anytime.
You're so cute. Okay, so for the people that are just meeting you today, just tell us a little bit about you.
Yes. So my name is Supriya Surrender, and Valerie and I met. We connected because she found me on Instagram through my blog, Baldy Boo. And I've been sharing my journey with alopecia for the past 2 years now. I can't believe it's already been 2 years of that blog, which is crazy. But my journey wasn't always that easy. I kept my alopecia a secret for a very long time. I lost all of my hair in 2015 when I was 33 years old. So alopecia was actually something quite new to me. I didn't have it as a child. So in my mid-30s, losing all my hair was pretty traumatic for me mentally. And then a few years into my journey, I finally started taking steps to make peace with the disease. And then my blog appeared in 2018. I made the decision to launch it then, and I just started telling my story. And since then, it's grown. I have so many amazing followers and so many amazing friends that I made because of it. And now, here we are.
Here we are. So what was the one thing that pushed you to, start talking about it?
So the first time I talked about it was actually in 2017. Kylie, who you had in your last interview series for the Unapologetic Badasses.
Oh, Kylie, yes.
Yes. So she was one of the first people I followed on Instagram who had alopecia. And she had posted this picture of herself, and it was her back. She had all this writing on it about like different words about her alopecia journey. And I saw that picture and I was like, wow, like that is so badass. Like I want a picture like that. But at that point, I wasn't ready to share my story or anything like that. But I contacted my friend Rachel, who's a photographer, and I was like, Rachel, can we remake this picture? I just want it for my own collection, just to have it, feel like a badass seeing it. So we did a version, and I'm like flexing, and I wrote some words. I wrote alopecia, I think loss and strength. I think I just wrote those three on there. And then I had this picture for a while, and I was just kind of sitting on it. And then all of a sudden one day, I came home and I kept going back and forth. Should I post it? Should I not post it? Should I post it? Should I not? And I wasn't planning on it. But then all of a sudden one day, all of this stuff that was on my mind just came blowing out in a little like blurb that I was writing in my phone notes. And I ended up posting it. So that was the first time I shared anything about my alopecia journey publicly. That was to my social media, like my little Facebook group and stuff. And then from there, I think the following year, I did another post, maybe for Alopecia Awareness Month. I can't quite remember. But again, this was just to my friends and family. And I had a few people reach out to me telling me that I should start some sort of blog. They said that they liked my writing, and they said it was very not relatable, but they could feel my emotions through my writing. And so they recommended that I start some sort of blog. And I had tried like here and there in the past, but every time I tried, it just ended up being this like rage blog where I would write about how angry I was about alopecia. But finally in 2018, I think I had come to a point in my journey where I had really made peace with it, and I wasn't as angry as I used to be. Of course, I had struggles with it still, but I felt like I had a story to tell because I had gotten to a point where I was in such a better place with my story. And, the world just felt so tumultuous to me. Felt like everybody, sometimes you just go on social media and you see everybody arguing in the comments, and people are just so mean to each other. And I felt like I wasn't doing anything to contribute to the greater good. So I was like, well, maybe if I start sharing my story, I'll be able to connect with people and show them that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and, add a little bit of light and good back into the world. And so that's what I did. And then here I am 2 years later, I have this blog, and it's just been so wonderful to connect with so many people in the hair loss community. It's just, I meet so many different people that are at different phases of their journey. Some people are like out there living bald and free and living their best lives. Some people are still on the struggle bus and are having such hard times with it. So it's amazing to connect with people across that whole spectrum, because I get to use my story to help those that are struggling, which is unbelievably amazing that I even get the opportunity to do that. And then I also get to be inspired by people out there that are, paving the way for women with hair loss. It's just life-changing.
And you are paving the way too. So there's that. You are. Awesome. So I know last time we got to talk about, the not so good side, like what you have experienced in the past, right? And the only reason why I bring it up, and I have to preface this a little bit, because I've always wanted to come from a good place, while creating everything I'm doing right now. So like I've always wanted to highlight the benefits. Believe it or not, there are benefits of having hair loss, and like what good has brought into my life, and all the good things, because for many years I was in such a bad place that I'm just done with it, right? Like I don't want to go back there anymore. And so I want to bring everybody with me out of the struggle bus to the we can do this together bus.
Yes.
But I know that it didn't start there, right? It didn't start there for you. It didn't start there for me. So can you share a little bit with us, like, what was it like when it wasn't that great? And like, what did you do to get you where you're at right now?
Yeah. So at that point where it wasn't great, I mentioned this in my past interview, and I try to mention this often, that I've dealt with anxiety and depression for a large portion of my adult life. It's just a part of me that I always have to manage. So when I lost all of my hair, it was definitely a crushing blow to my mental state. When we've talked about this as well, that coming out of very emotionally destructive relationships, it takes a blow to your self-esteem, to your self-worth. But when you add hair loss into that mix, it kind of gives you this desolate feeling of, I'm not good enough, and I wasn't good enough with hair, so how am I going to be good enough without it? And so I really hit my lowest of lows. I did battle with some thoughts about ending my life, and not just simply, not saying simply, but not just because of alopecia, but just a culmination of many difficult things that were going on in my mind. When you let your depression get way out of hand, those thoughts can happen, and I wasn't doing anything to take care of it. I wasn't doing anything medication-wise, and I wasn't doing anything therapy-wise to help myself. And so for a long time, I just internalized everything. I never really talked to anybody in my life about those thoughts that were going on in my head. They were just with me, myself, and I. And so that makes it that much harder, because you're just on this endless loop of negativity. And so I was just very angry. And, I would sit there and think, okay, if my hair loss can stop tomorrow, then I can get back on track. And it never did. You know, every morning I would wake up and there would be more hair on my pillow, and I would take a shower. And I don't know about you, but when I was losing my hair, showers were the worst. It was like you take a shower and the amount of hair that falls out while you're washing it, I didn't even realize I had that much hair. Like after the first shower, when I was in the middle of losing it, I would have thought I would be completely bald afterwards. The amount of hair I saw there, it was devastating and alarming and scary. So there's just so many different things. And then watching yourself physically just completely distort in front of your eyes every single day. I'll never forget the first time that I realized my spots were no longer able to be hidden, because when my hair loss started, it started in the back. But it was when I was getting ready for work, the first time I saw one up top. And oh my gosh, did I have a breakdown that day. You know, I just felt so defeated. I just felt so betrayed by my body. I felt out of control because there was nothing I could do to stop it. You know, I tried all the diet tricks. I tried all the herbal remedies. I tried actual experimental medication treatments. I tried it all, and nothing was working. And then those treatments that I was taking was making my depression and anxiety worse. I don't know if you've ever taken prednisone, but I was on a regular dose of prednisone for an extended period of time. And I call prednisone the devil drug. It turned me into a crazy person, and it made every bad emotion 500 times worse for me. Yeah. So it was a lot of that at once. And it wasn't until I decided to make my mental health a priority again and start therapy. I started medication for my anxiety, and it wasn't until I started those things and really started healing my brain that I was able to push through and start focusing on myself again in a good way, in a positive and healthy way.
So how did therapy help you? Because I feel like sometimes a lot of people are more concerned about regrowing their hair than taking care of their soul. Because that's literally, you know, like your soul is in pain.
Yes.
Right. And I feel, and for me personally, my experience has been that when I took care of that, then everything else, it's not like it didn't matter, but it was easier.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, what difference did therapy make for you?
So therapy helped me sort through so many things that I was dealing with my hair loss journey, but it also helped me deal with things that led up to my hair loss journey.
Right.
So I mentioned, like, I was in a 3-year, very emotionally difficult relationship. I moved from Ohio to Colorado for this person. So I gave up everything in my life. I gave up my friends, my family, all of these things for this relationship that ended up being quite devastating for an elongated period of time. And, you know, leaving that relationship slowly, like, it chipped away. It was like I was a sculptor, and it was chip, 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 chip. And I was this happy person, and piece by piece, that happiness kept falling off. And by the time that ended, you know, I was a little pile of rubble as it was. And so I didn't have any self-confidence. I didn't have any self-worth. And I'm not attributing per se that person to that. I'm saying that I allowed myself to get to that point because I didn't see myself shifting. It was happening. I wasn't realizing it. And then I was breaking apart, you know. I should have walked away early on when I noticed it, and I didn't. And so I just let this little pile of rubble continue on. And I was just going through the motions day in and day out for a while. I felt pretty alone out here in Colorado because I didn't really have friends. So it was just me and my cat for a while when we did eventually break up, and then my hair started falling out. So I just had a lot of things to deal with that relationship, with past relationships, with other things that have happened throughout my life. I've dealt with body body image issues my entire adult life as well. So I had to do things to make peace with that, so I had a lot of work. I had a lot of things to work on. And so going to therapy, you're able to talk to somebody that knows nothing about you, and their only goal is to get you better mentally. Their goal is to not have to see you anymore because they want you to feel better. They're not invested in you in any other way. They don't have opinions on how you should be living your life. They're just an unbiased, here are tools, and I will help you work through things. So yeah, it was really wonderful. And one thing I do want to say about therapy too is that not all therapists will be the right fit for you. So I saw a therapist a few years prior to losing my hair, and she was not a good fit for me. And it was nothing against her. It's just that her style and her focus areas just didn't help me at all. And so instead of finding somebody new at that time, I just stopped going, which I shouldn't have done, because I think it's important that you try out a therapist. If it doesn't work, then you just try again, because there is somebody out there that will be the right fit for you. You just have to continue on until you can get that right person.
Right. And I just think it's so important to just taking that step, like you said, take the step of going to one appointment, right? You don't have to commit. Don't think that because you go to one appointment, you have to commit for the rest of your life. No.
Right.
It's just taking that step or going for the first time. And that's saying yes to yourself. That's not even saying yes to the therapist.
Yeah.
That's saying yes to yourself, to being I'm going to take care of me.
Yes. It's no different than if you have bronchitis, you go to the doctor. So it's no different than that. It's just, think of it as a different kind of head cold. If it's too hard for you to think of it as mental health, and if it makes you feel like you fall into this stigma bucket or whatever these, ridiculous things people say about mental health, if it's too hard for you to put yourself into that bucket, just think of it as head cold, and you're going to a doctor to treat this head cold so you can get better, and just prioritize yourself.
Right. Well, and it's also acknowledging, I feel like, that alopecia or hair loss is not a cosmetic condition like it is,
Yes.
under the insurance. It's cosmetic. It's not. It's really not. It affects everything. So it's just knowing that we have to take care of ourselves. You know what I mean? Nobody else will.
Yes.
Your doctor is not going to tell you, oh, you have to go see a therapist because you have hair loss. They don't think that way. They don't see it that way. So if you don't take that move, if you don't make the move for yourself, nobody else will tell you to do it.
Yeah, and I think conversations like this are so important, because we need to do something to end the way the medical and insurance industry treats alopecia. Because yes, on paper, it's cosmetic, but it's not. Any person you talk to that's lost hair like this, they've dealt with some shit in their life, and they need the help. That should be one of the things they recommend is, first, go see a therapist, because it's going to be hard. Yeah. And all they do is tell you
any treatment, honestly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yeah. All they tell you is you should manage your stress. But it's how do you manage your stress when your hair is falling out by the handful, and it's something you've never experienced before in your lifetime? You need other tools to do it. And that's where somebody who's spent a career helping people with the unexpected steps in and helps.
Yeah, because it's definitely a vicious cycle. You're stressed out and anxious because you lost your hair, and then you lose your hair because you're stressed out and anxious, and it's it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And we don't stop it. Totally.
Agreed.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so going back to I don't know if we touch on relationships this time, but I know we did last time. I know you shared a beautiful story about how you met, your love. You guys are still together, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So for the ladies that are oh my God, I don't know that I can date or be in a relationship, who's gonna love me like this? What do you have to say about that?
I mean, I get it. It's hard. It is very, difficult because the thing about dating and hair loss is you have to become vulnerable very quickly, much more quickly than you would in any other type of dating situation. And I remember one of the things I struggled with, especially when I was doing online dating, is when do I tell this person that I don't have hair? And the thought of sharing it scared me so much that like I talked myself out of talking to anybody for a long time because I just didn't know how I was going to address that conversation. So I think the one thing that you have to remember is that if somebody is going to not want to get to know you or not want to be in a relationship with you because of your hair loss, that's not a person that you want in your life, period. As hard as that is to wrap your head around, because I know you fall for people and you have feelings for people and you want people to love you. If your hair were to grow back and then they would love you then, but they wouldn't like this, that's not a person you want in your life, because life is going to throw so many crazy cards at you. It could be hair loss. It could be something else. And if somebody can't love you like this, then that's not the kind of love you want. You don't want conditional love. You need to find somebody that's going to love you unconditionally. And so this is the ultimate test. Like, if you want to be able to weed out terrible humans, this is going to be the way to do it, you know, because somebody, right? Yeah. Like, this is going to tell you, this person's not worth my time. And set your bar high. Because you have hair loss does not mean you lower your bar. Like, it doesn't mean you have to settle. It doesn't mean you have to, you know, because the thought is always, who's going to love me like this, right? That's what everybody thinks. And so if you find somebody that loves you like this and they don't treat you right, then I think the next thought is, well, nobody else is going to love me like this. And you have to push all of that out of your head, because you are wonderful as you are, and you just need to own it and find somebody that fills your heart and makes you feel loved and happy and confident in any state. You know, with my boyfriend now, I will have zero makeup on. I'll have my pimple cream peeling off in chunks on my face. And he looks at me exactly the same than if I am dressed to the nines, you know, and like, that's what everybody deserves to find.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're not doing you any favor, like you said. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel that sometimes we tend to put our partners in a pedestal if they are okay with it.
Yeah.
But that's really the least they can do.
Yep.
Right? If they love you, that's just normal, right? Like, if you, like, I ask, because I get that a lot, and I ask the women that I talk to, well, if your husband had a skin condition, would you leave him? No. Well, there you go.
Exactly.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just like we give so much significance to it, and we make it mean that we're broken or that there's something wrong with us, and it's not like that at all. So I would say,
like that at
walk
all.
into the relationship owning it, like, really, like, own your hair loss. And the moment you own your hair loss and you respect yourself, then other people will do the same, right?
Yep.
Because we're projecting onto them. That's another thing.
Right. If you are unhappy with your hair loss and it's a big strife for you, and then you go into a relationship expecting that's gonna fill that void of being unhappy with your hair loss, that relationship is going to end up becoming very stressful, because you are relying on somebody else to make you happy because of something that's happening in your body, and that you can't assume somebody else is going to give you that happiness. Someone else should always be adding to your happiness. It shouldn't always be that you have to have them to be happy. No, you need to be happy and they add to it.
Absolutely. You get to share that happiness with them.
Yes.
So speaking of happiness and happy moments, anything funny that you want to share with us that has happened around hair loss? Any funny stories, good stories you want to share?
Yes. So this is my favorite story. I was in this Facebook group for women with alopecia, and everybody shares their little tips and tricks. And I remember early on, somebody was talking about this like eyebrow pen that you could use, and they're like, it's so good. I go swimming with it, like it does not budge. And I was struggling with getting my eyebrow makeup to stay on, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try this. So I try it, and at this point I used to work out after work. So I had tried it in the morning, went to work, lasted fine, got home, went to the gym, and it was my apartment gym, luckily, so it wasn't a ton of people. But I did my little elliptical or some sort of cardio, and then I go to the weights. And when I look in the mirrors behind the weights, my eyebrows are dripping down my face. It is like these rivers of like dark brown makeup all down my face.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, that happened. And I, honestly, at that point, I was just like, I don't care.
You just
I'm going to
gotta
lift my
roll with
weights.
it.
Yeah, I'm just going to lift my weights. It just means that one less gym creeper will talk to me today.
Yeah. And honestly, I think that there are a lot of moments like that, and you roll with it.
Yeah.
We had a virtual meetup last Saturday. I did it for Spanish speaking women because I've noticed that a lot of Latinas don't like to talk about hair loss. So I decided, you know what, let's get them together. Let's break the stigma. And one of the girls was sharing that, a lot of times, like, she doesn't even know that her wig goes up. And, like, sometimes she's talking to people with her wig up to her, and they're like, what's happening? And everybody was like, yep, guilty.
Yes, because when you wear a wig, especially all day, your part is probably going to move. Your hairline's going to move, your part's going to move, something's going to shift. Like, it happens. Even the most secure wigs in the world do it.
Yeah. For me, I think the one that I still can manage is the root touch-up sprays. There's root touch-up, there is Topic, there is now I use eyeshadow just because with the sprays, I used to get the freaking spray everywhere. Like hands, nail, clothes, walls. All the things. So I think that for me is the one thing that I've had to like, all right, maybe I'm not so good at this. Let's not use that. Well, we're getting closer to our time together, to the end of our time. So I just want to know, like, what has been like the best thing that alopecia has brought into your life? That you say like, okay, this has really changed my life for the better. Which I know it's hard for some people to like think about it, right? But I guarantee you there is something good that this has brought into your life.
Yes. So, I mean, I think the best thing is it's brought me true confidence and true happiness, which is absolutely insane because it's also brought me my worst sadness, my worst depression. But through my healing process, especially with starting my blog and connecting with all of these wonderful humans like you, it really has helped me find my own truth. It's helped me find purpose in life. It's given me something that every morning I wake up excited because I get to connect with my community and I see all these amazing women and I see the things they're doing and I'm like, wow, I could do that too. Or like I didn't have any of that before. I would wake up and I go to work and then come home and just kind of do my thing. Like I didn't have anything that really filled my cup in that manner. And now I just feel like I just have so much that makes my heart so full. It makes me excited for the future. It makes me excited for the future of hair loss. I just think, I don't know. Once I made peace with it, I just made peace with myself. And people always say, like, when you're in your 20s, your 30s sound so scary. And 37, but I'm the most confident version of myself, which is wild because who thought it would take losing my hair and losing everything to get to this point where I love myself and I love this life. Do I every second of every day? No, but way more than I ever did before. So that to me is just such a blessing. Like, what a wild ride it has been to get to this point, but Would I change it? No, because I love this space that I'm living in, and I'm happy that I got here.
Right. And so what would you say to people that are still like, having good days and bad days and like not feeling so great about it?
Yeah, so I would say to you, first of all, that's totally normal. Like, you're not just going to wake up overnight and just be like, I love alopecia. Like, that's just not going to happen.
So true.
But I think the most important thing is to just continue doing things that help you work on yourself. So maybe that is starting therapy, or maybe if you're not at therapy yet, maybe it's on talking to a friend and telling them about what you're going through and having somebody where you can have those open conversations. And I know not everybody has friendships or family like that where they can open up. So the next is go find somebody that you can talk to. You can talk to me. You can talk to Valerie. Like, there are people out there going through this that will talk to you. Read books that are inspirational, or podcasts. I think sometimes when you're feeling sad, you have a tendency to find things that make you more sad, whether it's sad movies or sad songs or things like that help you just like sit in that sadness and just be in it. So find things that help you get out of that. Maybe it's inspirational stuff, or maybe if you're not ready for that yet, maybe it's just making sure all the music and all the TV you watch is stuff that makes you laugh. So now, instead of always crying or always feeling down, you're always laughing. And, the more you laugh, the more the things in your brain start thinking, okay, well, laughing's a little bit more fun than being sad. I like to write down in my gratitude journal. So I keep a list of things that I'm thankful for. So, even it doesn't have to be a long list. Even if you start with one thing a day that you can be thankful for and slowly start to grow it from there, you'd be shocked how quickly that changes your mind frame with things, and how quickly your life will change. Your perspective will change on things. Don't fall into the trap of, a lot of times people will tell you, well, at least it's not this, or it could be worse if it was this. That never helps, because it makes your feelings invalid at the moment. And I want you to own your feelings, because it is okay. It's okay to feel that way. Everybody feels that way when they go through hair loss, but it's just most important that you don't live in that feeling forever. You need to do something to help you get out of it. And it's just finding that thing.
Absolutely. Anything that will shift your energy. Anything.
Yes.
Really.
Yes.
Because it's different for everybody.
Yes.
So thank you, Supriya, so much
Of
again.
course.
I want to direct everybody to your blog because it's so great. So it's at baldyboo.com.
Yes, it's baldyboo.com, and then I'm baldyboo on Instagram. That's where I talk to people the most. I do have a Facebook that just connects with my Instagram, so you can find me on there as well.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. And
of course.
to everybody, I'll see you on the next interview.
Bye, guys.